Hello, I'm Alicia Davis,
And I'm Stacy Watson.
and we are the partners and co-owners of Transformative Leadership Strategies. And we have been talking with a lot of our leaders recently about accountability, haven't we, Stace?
Yeah, even before COVID, I feel like accountability was a theme that we heard quite often.
Hmm.
Communication's probably the most common theme, but accountability is right up there. And I think it's because it's complicated, right? Like accountability, what it means to me might not be exactly in alignment with what it means to you. And you get a bunch of individuals working in an organization, and this issue can arise.
That's right. And I think it's also been magnified, like what we've been hearing from the teams that we've been working with. It's magnified because of COVID, right? Because of, working virtually and all of the dynamics that
Yes.
people are dealing with around that. And of course, just the stress that people are under. I think it's very draining. And so, we've just been really trying to support leaders around how to create a culture of accountability, right? Like we really try to look at it from a couple of different perspectives, right?
Yeah, I think, there's only so much when it comes to accountability that we can control, which really is ourselves, right? And then as
Right.
leaders, we can try to think about from an organizational perspective, what does accountability look like? What does it mean? And try to be really explicit and clear about that so that everyone does have a shared understanding. One of the things that, in all the research and literature that we've read about this topic and just the experience we've had, one thing that feels really important is helping people connect with why they're doing the work that they're doing, right? To
That's right.
be able to kind of return to the mission from an organizational perspective. This is the part leaders can play, I think, is to say, this is why we're here. Let's all be reminded of that, and then individuals can connect to that, whatever brought them there to begin with, right? It gives them an opportunity to reconnect. And sometimes that connection can really support accountability, because if I
Right.
feel connected to this cause, then I'm more likely to show up and to do what, I've committed to do.
That's
So from
right.
a leader perspective, that culture of accountability piece is very powerful. And there are some really specific tactics and things to do to really support that.
That's right. And I think part of it is just making space for some of the conversation around it. Like it's a little bit of a zoom out and talking about values, right? It's like getting
Yes.
a little bit away from the day to day. Like this is the work that we need to do, of course, and this is the people that we're serving, then this is how we're, getting through our to-do list, right? But it's that conversation of, what you're doing really matters, and this is why
Hmm.
you are important in your contribution. And part of it is reminding people of that and tying, like you said, tying them into that bigger mission and vision of the organization. And then it's also, again, like you said, it's incumbent on each person to then really step into, okay, their own value and what am I bringing in? Why am I showing up every day to work? And some people it's more challenging than others. And I think part of the other thing that we're hearing often with teams is that it's way easier to point the finger at someone else or
Absolutely.
another team, right? And so to just be mindful of, starting with yourself first. Like how can I
That's
show
right.
up to be a more trustworthy or a more dependable coworker, teammate,
That's right.
and
Yeah,
then go from there, right?
absolutely. I think often between teams, what we find is, again, there's just not always perfectly shared understanding of what the expectations are. One team has one set of
That's
expectations, and
right.
another team has another set of expectations. And as simplistic as that seems, that can be a real problem, right? And it can really create a lot of resentments and a lot of loss of trust and all of those things.
That's right.
So, I feel like throughout COVID, we've said over and over and over again, to kind of return to what you can control, right? I can't control if someone else wears a mask. I can only control if I do, right? Those types of things. And I think that kind of plays here too, right? Like to be able to your point, start with what do I need to do to show up and demonstrate accountability? I
That's
can
right.
model that and sort of do that for myself and for my organization. And then what can we as leaders do to try to promote each person being able to do that within within the organization.
That's right. And so, we were talking about this. This is the topic of our nonprofit leadership roundtable
Mm,
discussion this month. So on Tuesday, January 15th, if you would like to join us from 9 to 10:30 in the morning, it's a free session and we just will, offer some specific tools and strategies and really just have a open dialogue with other leaders about how are they handling creating and maintaining these connections and ways of helping their teams show up as fully as possible
right,
and be accountable. So we'd love to have you join
right.
us. There's a
Yes.
link if you want to on Eventbrite. If you want to register, you can also email us info@tlstransforms.com. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you.